You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
Wow! What are you? Some kind of pervert?
It all sounds like some bad movie.
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Zap!
Welcome. Zapped, baby. With Willie Ames. Scott Baio. It's me, buddy. A little Charles in charge for everyone, yeah? Little Nicole Eggert. Oh, man. She was so naked in that movie, Blown Away, with Corey Feldman. The two Corys, Corey Haim, Corey Feldman.
Blown Away?
It was called Blown Away, I thought.
The one with the you mean Dream a Little Dream?
No. The Dream a Little Dream was Corey Feldman and Corey Haim, but
right.
That was the one where they swapped bodies. It was a body swap movie.
Correct.
Who was it? Was it Jason Robards and Corey Feldman swap bodies?
Yes.
Ugh. Oh, God. Poor Jason Robards. I mean, the son of a bitch was... He was in Parenthood, what, the same year? It's like, what happened? It's only been a year. You poor bastard. Once Upon a Time in the West was such a long time ago. Anyway.
I guess sometimes you just got to keep working, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, no. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, welcome to Moviesucktastic, episode 176, where we are going to be reviewing the Scott Baio, Willie Ames film, Zapped.
Zapped!
On a listener recommendation. Dale Rountree. Request. Sure, that works too.
Yeah, it works.
And when we got the request for it, I was like, yeah, that's not a bad idea. I think we should do Zapped. It's one of those films. I remember seeing this when I was a kid. I loved this movie growing up, and
this film is on my list of childhood favorite films that were not meant for children.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, it is rated R, which surprised me when I looked it up today, and it said it was rated R. And I'm like, I don't remember this film being an R-rated film. Watching it when I growing up, and I saw it on cable, so I didn't. It played continuously everywhere, cable and whatever broadcast television as well. And I'm sure it was edited there where it didn't have any nudity. Which the furthest this film goes. The furthest this film goes, this film was shown during the day.
There's
definitely
a couple
shown during the day.
Yeah, there's
three. There's three, and then the end of the film is where it earns its R rating.
There's a lot more books there. Yeah.
Yeah, books. Stop it with that. fucking autocorrect. You know what?
Now,
if I asked your opinion autocorrect, I would have. I can just simply turn it off. I don't know why I'm complaining.
I don't remember it being edited when I saw it on cable as a kid, because we were the first generation of children to grow up in our homes with access to unlimited cable television or cable movies, and 24 hours a day, and so we have our age is a little different. But I myself, when this film came out, give it a year to hit cable or so I was roughly 10 when I saw this film for the first time, most likely. And it's not made for a 10-year-old.
Yeah, no, I probably was a little younger than that. Maybe 8. I think the first time I ever saw this was in 84, 83, 84-ish. I believe this was shown continuously on Showtime or HBO, one of the two. I think it was HBO. Anyway,
On cable.
but it was on cable, yeah. But the thing is, it's an R-rated film.
Yes.
And watching it, I'm like, when is this film going to get its R rating? There's no swearing in it. There's no violence. There isn't even any sexual themes for a long time.
Now, there's the 80s was that 82, early 80s, and moving into the late 80s. That was when there was a huge backlash against exploitation films. All these 70s films had come out, practically softcore pornography in some instances, and so just for the same reason that you had horror films getting X's because there was too much blood, you had a lot of teen comedies like this coming in the 80s where they were getting slapped with R's, and even when they were toning the content down enough that they could try to get a lower rating. I'm guessing that it was rated R when it hit the theaters, but they purposely shot it in such a way that would be easy enough to edit out the book shots for regular television broadcasting.
We can stop referring to them as book shots.
But it's fun.
It's fun only for you.
It's my little in-joke.
Let's get that out of the way. It's only fun for you.
So I guess that.
So no, you're right, because you could see this definitely playing daytime television, even on ABC Family. They could edit this and it could be on ABC Family. Edited properly.
And don't forget too, we're talking about the MPAA. So there's drug references, continuous drug references, as well as the sexual themes. So yeah, there is no cursing. And again, that's one of the reasons a lot of these films, parents weren't too hip on monitoring television. They didn't have to in earlier days. Suddenly, you had cable channels playing this shit, and they didn't really know. There's that funny comedy and stuff out there. They're not watching the films with you.
Yeah.
But it's weird. Like you said, there's no swearing. The humor is very juvenile, so it's really something that a 10-year-old can latch onto, not getting the sexual themes references or not getting them 100%. Understanding the basic concept, and just we were really disturbed as children by watching these films. I do believe stuff like this. A great number of childhood films that I remember fondly watching over and over again involved prostitution, drug use, a combination thereof. There was, Night Shift, DC Cab, you name it.
DC Cab, oh man.
Not children's films, and it's not that they're aiming them for kids, but they are aiming for a younger audience. They're trying to get the PG audience in there, which is why they were probably aiming for a PG in the first place with no swearing. But so
the problem is at the time of this film's release, there was only G, PG, and R, and X.
Correct.
I mean, but those were the three big ones: G, PG, R. There was no PG-13 yet. There was no NC-17.
The MPAA never copyrighted X. That's why adult industry started using XXX.
Oh, okay.
So technically there wasn't an X.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
I mean, the MPAA, they never copyrighted it. It wasn't an official rating.
It wasn't official, even though like a film like Last Tango in Paris with Marlon Brando. I owned an old VHS box of that, and it did have an X rating on the back.
Now, and what I mean is, let me put it this way: if I release a film now and I don't put it through the MPAA, I can label it X.
Okay.
I can put an X on it and say this is rated X. They never owned X. They never copyrighted it or anything. So like, if I try to rate something R, they can come down on me because that's copyrighted. That's theirs. You cannot put an R on something as a rating because they own that rating. They don't own X. They own NC-17. They never owned X. They never wanted to own X. I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning was behind that, but that's what I mean when I say X wasn't ever an official. They used it, but it's never been an official MPA rating just because they never owned it.
Got it. Okay.
But you're right. Also, drugs. No, Midnight Cowboy, first Oscar film to ever get an X rating.
That's right. Best Picture.
You watch that now,
Yeah.
and you're like, why the fuck is this X?
Well, that's the one of the well, growing up as a kid, Cinemax, late night, I'd try and watch anything that I could. And that comes on, and I clearly see that it's rated X, or I read about that it was rated X. I mean, on Cinemax, it didn't actually have a rating. But I'm like, oh, I've heard about this, rated X. I watched it. And even as a kid, like 12, 13 years old, I'm like, what? I'd almost be able to watch that with my parents and not be embarrassed. That's how not an X it really was. And I always label films like that. It's like, could I watch this with my parents? Sure. No, I can't watch this one with my parents. No, I would be embarrassed.
And you kind of could watch this with your parents, and because even the boob shots aren't that bad.
No. Like I said, they earned that R rating at the end, and just barely too.
Barely, very barely. I wouldn't even say
there was like 3 extra shots at the end. There was 3 leading all the way up to the ending, and then they just threw it in the. You know what I feel like is they had the film.
Well,
they filmed it. Well, they filmed it. They tried to get that PG, couldn't do it. And said, you know what? We have all these extra shots. We're just going to leave them in. We're going to get the R anyway. We may as well just leave them in.
Oh, sure.
That's how I feel that the reason why that ending is the way it is.
Well, and again, the way it's shot, you can cut those like breast flashes out, and it doesn't like skip or anything. It's just it's a lot of action cutting. So I mean, that's definitely this is the time period too.
Well, there was one that was gratuitous. It was just.
Oh, there was one that was gratuitous.
Well, just at the end where the girl, it's at the very end. And the camera just pans out, and it's her completely naked, and she turns around and is totally naked, and she's just jumping up and down and screaming. It's like just totally unnecessary.
That was gratuitous, but the other instances of nudity were all well within the confines of the plot and the storyline.
Absolutely.
And characterization. Sure. Okay.
Because the other ones involved bullying and... it was to teach, what's her face a lesson.
All right. Well, now, if there's
I'm grasping at straws.
For the benefit of our listeners that might be under the age of 30 and have probably never seen this film, because this really did not gain any kind of. This isn't Porky's. This isn't Meatballs. Right. No one cares about this film. I don't care about this film.
No, I don't even know if I'm going to put this in my collection.
So, I
might leave this one out. Now. I don't know if I'll. It's. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see,
dude. I'll tell you right now. I grabbed the sequel while I was at it.
Yeah, I saw you told me.
Oh no!
Why'd you do that? I don't even know if it's the same characters or if it's a whole new cast.
No, the only returning cast member is the one teacher. What's her name?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Really?
The one. Yeah, she's the only one that returns in the sequel. The only person. We're talking 8 years later. Everybody had gone on to television and stuff. And
wow.
Now, so for the benefit of
Sue Ann Langdon.
Yeah, she appears.
Sue Ann Langdon. Oh my god.
Now I think I remember her from. I think she played the aunt in UHF.
She did.
Weird Yankovic's aunt.
Yep.
Yeah.
And and you know what's interesting about that? She's I don't know how old she is in here, but UHF is what, like maybe 7 years later? This was 82, UHF was 1989. Mm. The woman that plays the mother of Scott Baio, her name is Muse Small. She was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. She was Jack Nicholson's girlfriend. And when she did that film, she was only like 32, 33 years old.
Huh?
Total bombshell in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And in here, she looks really ragged.
Well, now they dress her up as the mother, too. So let's, give her some credit. A lot of it might be... Now, I could have, and I'm watching it, and she plays Scott Baio for those listeners who are under 30, there was an actor who was very popular for a while called Scott Baio. You may have seen him on Twitter a few years ago when he was pissing
Chachi
people
on
off.
Happy Days. He played.
There's a whole generation that doesn't even know what Happy Days is.
He played the
outside
Fonz.
of like jokes.
Was he the Fonz's nephew in that show? I think he was his nephew.
Yeah, Joni Loves Chachi.
Well, that was a show that spun off.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was his nephew or something.
Mm-hmm.
But
he was on Happy Days for a little while, but yes, he did get his own show called Joni Loves Chachi.
All right. So she's the Moses whatever. She's playing the mother, and she's like a squeaky small woman. Moses. Who I'm trying to get a fucking sentence out, and I keep getting sidetracked.
You say things like Moses.
The woman who played Scott Baio's mother in the film that we just talked about.
Yeah.
I'm watching her, and I'm like, I know her. She played the mother in Better Off Dead. Not her. Looks exactly like her. Even cooks bad food in this film too. It bothered me that it wasn't her because I couldn't.
Well, you know what's interesting about that is the first thing I thought of was if I was challenging you to a film, I probably would have picked Better Off Dead because of that. I made the exact same association.
Too good of a film. I can't.
It is, and it would be a short episode. We've talked about why we do that, but I made the exact same association. It's like, here, I made this for you, and it's like, oh yeah, great. It's disgusting.
So we should kind of explain the plot of the movie. It's an 80s teen comedy, and Scott Baio is a young nerdy scientist / high school student. Senior, and there's a nerdy female, journalist female sophomore senior student. She's played by Felice Shatter. Shatter. Yeah, I think her biggest claim to fame
might be Shatter.
Yeah, so maybe. Felice, her biggest claim to fame was she was in the first year of Facts of Life.
Oh, she was?
Yeah, most people won't remember her because she was let go after the first season. So she wasn't around for, what everybody else remembers. She's done some other stuff too, but I think that's the biggest one. And she comes in a little bit later, but Scott Baio's a nerdy scientist, kid working at the school. He's growing pot for his friend, Willie Ames.
Right.
And
which is ironic because he became a big junkie.
Yeah, Willie Ames is. It's interesting to see. Like we'll talk about Scott Baio and Willie Ames shortly, but it's interesting to see how their lives progressed beyond like this whole era.
Charles in Charge was kind of it for them.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's kind of it for them. After that, that's it, done.
So Scott Baio's character, Barney Springboro, he accidentally creates this.
Actually, he doesn't. Scatman Carruthers does. Grabbing his whiskey.
Yeah, Scatman Carruthers, who in my memory was always the janitor. I don't know why, but he's the coach.
I don't even remember him in the film, and
I do.
I was watching the credits. I barely remember him. I'm watching the credits, and I'm like, holy shit! Fucking Scatman Carruthers is in here.
As a kid, I loved Scatman Carruthers. He was great in that. My wife won't let me eat salami. I'm doing a horrible Scatman Carruthers. She says it causes cancer. A man's got to have his salami.
Bonnie, why don't you stop messing around with this and cure cancer so I could eat salami? All right, I'll get right on top of that. Yeah.
Yeah, but he messes up the stuff looking for booze, and so there you got your ensemble. You got your ensemble cast of characters, and there's the Thurston Howell,
principal.
The principal, but I'm trying to the actor. He played Tate in Soap, the TV show Soap. He played.
Right. Let's see. What's
something
his name?
Tate?
Robert Mandan. Robert Mandan.
Yeah, Soap's the big thing I remember him from because I watched that TV show religiously as a child. Again, not really meant for children. And
No.
I'm belaboring the point. Scott Baio makes this formula that he accidentally takes, and it gives him psychic power, telekinetic powers.
Telekinesis.
telekinesis technically, but he does do things that actually bend the fabric of space and time. Because obviously the being a teenage exploitation film in the 80s, it plays a little fast and loose with the laws of physics. He has a vivid imagination too. So there are scenes where he's daydreaming about girls and stuff like that. So anyway,
they do that. They do that a few times in the movie.
Yeah, and you almost feel like that there was like you can see where like maybe there was more intention to do stuff, but it all got lost in the 80s teen comedy screenplay, plot line.
Like the whole Star Trek scene, which the creepiest looking Spock ever. I mean, holy shit. It's like acting, like touching children is his day job, and making this movie was just something he did on the side.
And I don't know if like he was the only guy they could find that kind of sort of looked like Leonard Nimoy, but he has like his line is the punchline in that little scene. He has the punchline. I mean, or like the big cell. There's a couple other punchlines. The whole scene's punchlines, but he has like the big cell, and he marble mouth fumbles all the way through it. And you got to figure that was the best take they could get with this guy, and they still kept him for the one line. I think they even show him in the trailer.
They do. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
By the way,
they mention only Spock in the trailer, and they show him, and he didn't need much makeup at all, especially on those ears. Holy shit.
By the way,
wow,
worst trailer ever.
Yeah, one of the worst.
When we did last,
it's actually
on our last episode when we did Street Trash, and it was like a long trailer, but it was a great trailer. It was a fun trailer. This is the opposite. This was a long trailer, and it was painful, and it kept mentioning things that had no bearing on anything whatsoever.
This is the type of trailer that they do parodies of trailers for. I mean, that's exactly the formula of this trailer. Whenever you watch a parody trailer, this is it. The trailer that they do for this, it's the exact same formula. That's how bad it is.
After the first 20 seconds, the narrator might as well just be saying, "Trust me, it's fucking awesome. Really, go see it. No, you really like it. Please watch it. Please watch it." It's just
for the love of God, man.
This movie will get you off. He actually said that, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes.
What the fuck was that?
I don't know what that was, but at that point, they're like, well, we have the R rating. We may as well try and sell the sex.
Just sell it as porn, please. Just sell it as porn. This would make a great porn remake, I think, if anybody cared.
Right.
I think there's great opportunity there. But now the film...
This ain't Zapped.
Yeah, right.
A porn parody.
So Scott Baio gets these telekinetic powers. His rich...
best friend.
I'm trying to think of how you describe him. Just like the cocky, arrogant, happy-go-lucky guy, sidekick, and the nerdy girl who is actually beautiful, but she's wearing big glasses, so you can never tell.
Right.
They find out about it, and then there's the whole moral tug-of-war about using it for evil or good, blah blah blah. And in the midst of that, breasts are revealed, and at the end, more breasts are revealed, and that's really
That's really kind of it. But it's interesting with the whole gambling thing. He gambles one time, and she holds it against him. Mm-hmm. One time. It's like this guy, it's like he needs to go in Gamblers Anonymous, according to her. That's how bad it was. And how bad of a friend is he that he goes to this frat party where they have, roulette tables and craps tables and everything. They got a whole gambling setup. And he sits with his friend, Willie Ames, the entire time, gets him a nice giant, rack of chips. And it's one more time he needs to do that to win, like for it all. And he refuses. What kind of a horrible friend are you that you couldn't do it one more time?
You're actually coming out against the Scott Baio character on this?
Yes.
Wow, yes. Did we learn nothing from this movie, Joey?
No, nothing. All I know is this movie, what I'm getting at is this movie is filled with a lot of scenes like that, where it's like, we just one more, and we win and we can leave. I don't want to do this anymore. You big
Well,
fucking baby. It's one more time.
Yeah, and I think what you're seeing is that what we're watching is a very simplistic movie that's really just trying to get from low budget effect to breast shot to low budget effect, and in
Right.
doing so has to give characters motivations that they don't have time to build and really aren't supported fully by any kind of real personality within the character. I
Right.
mean, now
You know what, too? Did you
What?
find that this film, and I don't remember this when I was a kid, watching it, rewatching it today. Did you find that this film was a little rapey? It's a little rapey. Especially the end, where like even a teacher is down to his shirt, like it's open, grabbing at chicks. It's a little rapey.
Now, there is that. There is at the end where when a naked woman runs by, men are like, "Ooh," they have to chase it. Like that's much more like Benny Hill mentality. It's like the dog chasing the car. If they caught him, they wouldn't do anything with him.
Right.
But I'll give you that. The part that really creeped me out was when Willie Ames tricks
Heather Thomas.
Jane Mitchell,
Right.
guess the character's name, Heather Thomas, takes her back to his apartment and is like lying to her about his wealth and everything to try to nail her. And I found myself becoming uncomfortable in this scene. And I actually had to start rationalizing myself. I'm actually having a dialogue with myself while I'm watching this just shitty 80s teen sex comedy. I was like, well, he's lying to her, yeah, but she's obviously using him for his money. So it's really not too bad that he's trying to,
give and take.
Yeah, I mean, really, she's a bad person, so it's okay that he's taking advantage. But that doesn't make any sense. No, that's bad. That's wrong. I'm like, I'm at a moral crossroads here, and all I should be doing is waiting for the breast shot. What the fuck?
Which you don't get to see.
No, you do at the end. It takes a
At
picture.
the end, but in that
end.
scene, you don't see anything. It goes dark, and then
the
you see a
picture.
camera flash, and that's it.
Right at the end, he shows the picture, so you do get to
At
see
the
it
end.
eventually.
Well,
Yes.
and you do see her breasts because Scott Baio's character, Barney, he rips her clothes off because she's being an ass.
But
in that particular scene, it's pretty tame.
But also, just like at the end of Revenge of the Nerds, or just like that lead female in Revenge of the Nerds, she did have a body double during in those surgeries. That was not her actual breasts.
I thought there was a shot where you could see the whole everything head down.
That's the picture, so it's probably photoshopped. But they said that was not her body. That was not her breast. Whenever the breasts are actually invisible, it's a neck down shot.
She's
And
got
if it's
her hands over them.
And if it's upper shot, her hands are over them, or there's a bra on. So yeah, it was.
There's another scene that's a little rapey, and it's when Scott Baio and Bernadette, they go back to the lab, and he basically floats in a mattress.
Well, that was consensual, though.
Hold on, where I'm getting to the rapey part is he floats in a mattress, he levitates her on top of the mattress, then he gets on, doesn't bother levitating himself, and he's like struggling to get on this mattress on this counter. But besides that, so they start to make out, and he starts to reach his hand under her shirt, and she's like, no. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, no. And then he uses his powers to try and lift her shirt, and she's like struggling. It's like, he brought a mattress into the room. I don't know what she thought was going to happen. Because it seemed like it was consensual, like you said.
That wasn't rapey. That was just like a little, role play, roughy stuff. I wouldn't worry about that. They were all happy at the end there.
What is this, kink.com? It was a little rapey.
I didn't find that anywhere as disturbing as the whole slow seduction of Jane there. Mm-hmm. Now she had a body double, but it's not because of her age, because most of the people in this film are well over high school age.
Yeah, most of them are drinking age.
And I know it's something that's always talked about, but I think it's especially important for this film because the only actor or actress that's really the proper age for this film is Felice, because she was I believe 19 at the time,
19,
and she was 19. She actually missed her own high school prom to film the fake high school prom for Zapped. So she was actually that age. Now, I didn't make a list, but I checked all this ahead of time. Scott Baio and Willie Ames are both born in 1960s. They were both 22 when this film came out.
Wow.
So they're both over 20 at the time. The guy Jane, that's Heather Thomas, the one who had the body double step in. She was born in 1957.
Wow. Look at that.
So she was like,
She was
what
26.
Yeah, 25, 20, 20 I think 25.
She was 25. She was 25.
Right, 25. Her boyfriend in the film, I forget that guy's name, but he was 27.
His name was Greg Bradford.
Rob. Yeah, he's 27 years old, so he's playing a freshman in college. So he's a little closer, but maybe not. He should have been out of college by then, or at least out of pre-law, because that's what he was taking in the film.
Just yeah.
Yeah. So besides fucking her name, Felice. I can't say Schachter. Besides Felice Schachter, everybody else is way older.
Oh yeah.
And it's like just too obvious too. I don't know.
No, everyone looks like they. Everyone is of the age that this should have been a college sex comedy,
right?
Instead of a high school one.
And a lot of it is because I can't find much. I mean, again, this is a small film that no one really cares about, and the people that made it didn't do that much else besides. The writer, the director, don't have a huge history in film. They did some stuff. They were around for that time period, got their money and left. But I really have a feeling that when this was developed originally, it was meant to be like a full-on parody or comedy based on Carrie.
Yeah, well, even at the end where he swings the doors open, and even though in Carrie the doors swing closed. Well,
that's like, and then so in this film the doors swing open and the wind comes in and blows off clothing,
clothes, and
he's got
basically getting revenge on everyone that was mean to him and so on and so forth.
It happens after he gets hit on the head with a watermelon, not a bucket of blood. His mother becomes a religious nut and tries to have an exorcism for him in the film. So you've got all these elements from Carrie mixed in with your typical Porky's type. Not even Porky's was 10 times sexier. Mixing with all this other stuff, and I just got a feeling that at one point they realized they couldn't do that, so they just changed it.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Huh. I'm looking at what the other stuff the director has done. It's basically all movies like this.
Yeah, I mean, it was just that one
Malibu
time period.
Beach. He did Zapped again. Ugh. 8 years later.
Yeah, it's one of those films where you watch it and you're thinking like, it'd be better if they did this or if this happened. And I had like 3 or 4 that went through my mind. It was like the secretary that's helping the principal place want ads in the what was it called? The Bachelor Gazette? What was the name of that?
When that scene... Yeah, I don't remember. But when that scene comes up, and I was like, wow, he puts an ad in the personals to meet someone. And he's like, this could be the person I've been looking for. Or he goes, I think this is the person I'm looking for. I'm like, this is so different than what's happening right this second. Just people just going out and getting laid the same day on Tinder. It's like, wow.
Right, because people weren't going out.
What a departure.
Now, let's be fair. People were going out and getting laid the same day in the 80s. They just didn't know who it was going to be when they left the house.
Yeah, but it's so much easier now.
Oh no, it's 10 times
so much easier. It's 10 times easier.
Yeah. Well,
you could have multiple. You could get laid multiple times a day.
So a year.
That's what I've heard.
Yes.
Yeah.
But so he and that's the weird thing too, because he has his secretary filling these want ads out for him. Yet the secretary's like having an affair with Willie Ames.
Willie Ames.
And then, but the secretary, I was like, I couldn't help it. It was like, it should be Mary Warrenoff. Well, how come this wasn't Mary Warrenoff? Mary Warrenoff should be playing this character, and this character should be banging the principal. It just bothered me that it wasn't Mary Warrenoff. It was the perfect role for Mary Warrenoff. Wow. And then I was like, oh, they should have just done a straight parody of Carrie kept it closer to the actual film. Then there was a part of me that wanted to see the adult version of Zapped, like a triple X porn parody, because it would probably have better plot line too. Because they wouldn't have to beat around the bush about a lot of stuff. Haha. And there's, yeah, I mean, and a lot of it really, it does have that feel of Better Off Dead. There's a lot of elements. Yeah, there's a lot of elements of Better Off Dead in there. It constantly made me think of like Meatballs, things like that of the time, which obviously it's influenced by it. But
well, sure. When did the first Meatballs come out? Was that 1980 or 81?
I'm pretty sure that was a 70s film. Give me a second. I'm gonna look that up.
I thought Meatballs was like 80, like right on the cusp.
I want to say 79 or 78. I'm probably wrong though. You're better with numbers than I am.
No, you could be right. I'm foggy on it. I know Meatballs 2 was like 84.
79.
Was it 79?
Dead on.
All right, it was right on the cusp.
Yeah. Now, Porky's, which is the quintessential, teen comedy, that came out in '82, and you had stuff like this beforehand too, but I think when the '80s hit and the MPA was cracking down on stuff too, you really had two paths that these filmmakers would go. They would either try to just make something tame that had some breast in it, like Zapped, or they would try to push the envelope as far as possible with stuff like Porky's.
Right.
You didn't really have much in the middle of the road. I don't feel at least stuff, not stuff that was noticed or remembered. You always just had the stuff where it's either just really schlocky and with some boobs, or just you really may not want to watch with your parents, like Porky's.
Well, yeah.
And I love Porky's. I say today, not only like a great teen sex comedy, but one. Even like the set piece Porky's 2 and Porky's and Porky's 2, I think had exceptional screenplays. I thought they had a lot of characters. The characters were all individual and well-rounded. The storylines, this part 2 was a little sillier, but they had storylines that actually had a moral message involved in them, even though there's a lot of, teen sex stuff. It was set, I believe it was set in the 50s, and I hate the 50s. When it comes to films that take place in the 50s, I normally don't like them. And this is one film about kids that maybe it's because they didn't sing any doo-wop or anything like that. They just actually acted like kids. But I'm sidetracking.
It was definitely, you're right. It was definitely the 50s. It was definitely like that greaser mentality to it, which normally I hate. But they didn't. There's something about Porky's that just they do it right. It's really good.
You know what it is? Like growing up, anything you see that has people in the 50s in it was like Grease or West Side Story or was West Side Story 50s probably, but that kind of like overacting, that kind of really like Shia LaBeouf in The Crystal Skull. That kind of shit. We're like, what the? That's what you grew up with. And when you see these people, it's like, wait a minute, they're not acting like the Fonz. What's going on? Oh no, they're real people. I give the film a lot of credit for that. The only thing that really nails it down is a '50s film. If you just start watching it, you're not really paying attention to the setting. The only thing that really sells it as a '50s film are the cars they're driving, and occasionally you see like a poodle skirt. That's it.
Yeah.
They don't throw a lot of music. Oh, thank fucking God! It's a film that takes place in the 50s, and I don't have to listen to the greatest hits, volume 1 through 17, throughout the fucking soundtrack. God, holy shit! It's like whenever, just for a little mini rant, watching stuff like The Big Fucking Chill, Big Fucking Waste, the Zodiac film. Oh, it's in the 70s. Quick, get out the music catalog. We got to put 30 fucking songs in this film. Can we just make a fucking movie?
Most movies do that. Some of them are more subtle than others, because the thing is, a huge moneymaker is selling the soundtrack too.
Obviously, so. Yeah, and the companies own these as well. But that's why I hate it so much, because it's so prevalent and it's so just commercial and has nothing to do with the film. I mean, occasionally there's a film where it really does mesh. It's like, oh, thank God they put the music in there. But 9 times out of 10, and you go into films now expecting that. Oh, it takes place in 1973. Oh, I see. There'll be some disco in there, right? But watching Porky's, it's like you're not listening to Chubby Checkers every 15 fucking minutes. It's just, thank God. I don't even know if that reference makes sense. I don't care. I'm not into music.
I don't know.
Zapped is timeless, just because again, Zapped doesn't.
Did you just refer to Zapped as timeless?
timeless in the sense that when you watch it, there's no real set time period. It doesn't feel like an '80s film. It's another film like Street Trash. It doesn't feel like it doesn't have that '80s taste to it. Everybody, all the
I thought it did. Personally, I thought it did. I thought it had that made-for-TV movie feel.
Made for TV movie, definitely. But when I say '80s film, though, I mean there's no '80s culture in the film. All the kids are dressed like they're going to prep school. There's no real hairstyles or music from the '80s.
Yeah,
there's
Bell
really
Bottoms didn't cross over. They crossed over for a year or two into the '80s.
There's no real cultural footprint on this movie. I mean, he's got a ventriloquist doll and a Star Trek, and that was actually a Millennium Falcon model that was made to look like Star Trek. But he's got a fucking Star Trek model and a fish tank and a ventriloquist dummy in his room. Like, not even, it's just no '80s cultural branding whatsoever. No music posters, no movie posters like they usually do. They say, "Hey, look, this is a child of this time period." None of that.
About as close as you got to that was the punk kid reading his poetry in class. That's it.
The stereotypical. I looked him up too. He was like 20 something.
Oh,
and he plays such a stock character. When I saw him, I was like, okay, I've seen him in something else before. And I looked up. No, I haven't seen him in anything else before.
He just fit the mold.
Yeah,
but that's as close as you got. Was that punk look? Punk rocker.
The leather
look.
jacket and and hey, I liked his reveal in the beginning because he when they're having an assembly at the beginning and he comes in and like blah, 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 and he's got two girls in tow and he takes the seat. He's almost like the Shogun of Harlem in
Bachelor Bait. That's the name of the newspaper.
Bachelor Bait. Thank you. But when his entrance comes in, like, it's just such a big entrance, and then they prominently display him in the class. The next time, you're expecting him to be a foil of Barney's of some kind or to play some important role in the film. He pretty much drops out of it entirely after that.
Yeah.
It was like it's almost like they had to, like you said, it's like the closest you come to an '80s thing is like they had to put something culturally relevant in there, and after that, it's just let's go bike riding.
With Albert Einstein.
Even when Barney and what was Felice's name in this? Bernadette. When Barney and that's a great couple of names to put together. When Barney and Bernadette like go to a record shop, the camera never doesn't even follow them in. That's too close to the culture. Keep the culture inside.
That's right.
We'll watch through the window. We don't want to see any album covers that might give us a clue as to the time period. It's like the film was like afraid to actually acknowledge when it was being made. It's like a covert film. It's weird. Because it wasn't intentional. It just happened that way.
No, definitely not.
It was, and also, I would also hazard to guess that perhaps maybe the filmmakers that threw this thing together and raised the money and everything and had it made weren't a part of the '80s culture and had no desire to try to fit in and weren't trying to make like Breakfast Club or something. They were just trying to crank out something quickly and didn't bother to do any research and say, hey, ask any of their early 20s high school student actors, hey, what would you guys be doing in high school? It just didn't give a fuck. So, which makes a lot of sense to me.
And it worked. Oh, this is the part where they're burning the marijuana, and then Scatman Carruthers.
Best part of the movie.
He overhears them. It's too big. It won't fit. And then he goes in there, sees them in the furnace, and still assumes that they are having sex, which I don't know how that's possible.
Hey, he's a dirty old man.
Next time, take her to a nice place. All
right, that was the other thought I had. Scatman Crothers, kid with psychic powers. I'm waiting for the Shining crossover.
Oh.
I'm waiting for them to talk to like Barney. Barney, you ever get a voice in your head and you can see things? It's like, no, I know what you're talking about. Damn, how come I'm the only one?
Do you like ice cream, Barney?
I gotta go out to Colorado now. I'll be back in a couple months.
You could have warned me about the axe. Damn.
Shining Zapped like remake like combination would be awesome.
Oh man, yeah. And then
It's like-
this is the
it's like
part
you-
where he gets high and pretty much he's riding a bicycle with Albert Einstein with his wife chasing him, shooting salamis at him. Who the wife, by the way, is
Oh, yeah.
what's her face from Sanford and Son. She
Lawanda
played Red Fox's sister-in-law.
Yep, and
Yeah.
I will still remember her to this day as the
Shakes the
barfly, barfly clown in Shakes the Clown.
I got one of those peanut butter pussies.
Finish it.
No, I can't. It's so gross.
Finish it. You started it. Finish it.
Something about spreading and.
Oh, you, dude! I got one of them. I got a peanut butter pussy, brown, smooth, and easy to spread. That's my favorite line. My favorite line is the other one. As soon as he gets off that camera, he gonna fuck that little dog. Yeah, I think you would have to either take The Shining. I think you should take all you have to do is take The Shining and Zapped, and keep Scatman Crothers in both, but swap the characters.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Why
So
not?
you can see that. So you can see the kitchen scene where he's giving ice cream to the kids. Like, you know, my wife won't let me eat salami. There's all this horrible stuff happening at the hotel. Then you cut the Scatman Crothers up at like 2:00 in the morning. They go to the phone. I'd like to order some salami. the pictures on this wall are all LaWanda Page half naked, and then meanwhile in Zapped, he's running around actually trying to save things and help people, and it's not working. At the end, he accidentally gets killed with an axe during the whole Carrie sequence at the end.
Sure. You know, it's funny, that scene that just happened with him being high and his wife shooting salami at him. Each one of those that she shot him, it actually said salami on it.
Well, yeah.
I mean, well, because maybe if it didn't, it would have just looked like dildos. Because it has that certain shape to it. And it's a certain color. Could have been misdiagnosed as black dildos.
A true animation artist probably pointed that out. You know, we're just gonna have to label them.
we have to write salami on these. You know that, right?
Just label it. Yeah.
There's no other way these can look like salami unless it says salami.
Yeah. Now, if you like, and now I remember you saying something to me earlier. It was like, yeah, I think you sent it to me in instant message. Was I remember liking this more as a kid.
I remembered loving this when I was a kid. I
do too.
Yeah.
And it's sad. I'm very sad for myself as a child because the fantastic elements of having superpowers and doing stuff is very captivating. You know, that's why Harry Potter's doing so well. So these kids like growing up the past 10 years, they had Harry Potter and all this shit. What did we have? We had Scott Baio and fucking strings. Like floating beakers.
Right.
We had a fucked up childhood. These kids this generation are spoiled. The shit. They have a whole mythos of magic and mystical stuff. We've got fucking Mr. Douche Nozzle.
And even their bad films look amazing.
Yeah.
On no money. The shit we had to watch was shit like this, where it's like, it's bad and it looks bad too.
Oh, by the way, I did mention I watched Zapped again. Remember all the how low the special effects budget was for Zapped?
Yeah.
You watch Zapped again, and it's like you're wishing for that. It's like, oh wow, it would be great if something was actually floating, and it's even worse. It's like 10 times worse. Is
it? Oh man.
Yeah. Maybe they could have afforded more if they'd actually gotten Scott Baio back, but
no, he was too busy. Getting scripts for Baby Geniuses.
Yeah, and
at that time, was he in Charles in Charge? He was probably high on the hog doing Charles in Charge.
I think that was up through 19. I forget.
I'm looking it up now.
Yeah, I saw it. Also,
holy shit, Charles in Charge started in 1984.
It was like six years, I think, 6 seasons.
Jesus. Okay.
Now I gotta say, as he's gotten older, he's gotten creepier looking.
Yeah, 84 to 1990. Wow. So yeah, he probably passed on Zapped again because he was doing the final season of Charles in Charge and didn't realize that was going to be it. But you're right, he has gotten creepier as he's gotten older.
Yeah. Now, so, I mean, Scott Baio, I mean, he pretty much rode his career as long as he could, and after that, he still worked in the industry. But, as he got older and less cute, there's not as much to do. So behind the scenes stuff, and he started making a bit of a comeback with the stupid reality shows and stuff over the past 10 years.
Yeah. How
Willie,
old is he now?
and he became
54.
Huh?
He's 54.
54 now, right?
Yeah.
And he also became very right wing. And so he's been controversial in the past few years, where he's tweeted things that have pissed people off. The big thing that got him in trouble, I actually don't agree with. I think it's one of the things where people take the reactionary shit a bit too far. So I don't agree with him as a conservative and how he acts and reacts to a lot of stuff. But he tweeted a picture of Michelle Obama. It was like they got her like with her mouth open weird and stuff like that. And the tweet was, and he has to wake up to this every morning. Oh. And he was immediately labeled racist. And now
it's distasteful, but it's not racist.
It's distasteful. It's not funny, but there's not a goddamn thing racist about it. I don't want to get too much into the whole thing with it, because that's more of a strangers in a strange land territory. But he did. What made it worse was that he reacted wrong, because as a conservative Republican, he doesn't really understand what makes you not racist. And so his way of saying I'm not racist is, my wife has a black friend, and I worked on the Wayans Brothers show. How can I be racist? And everybody's like, you have no idea what racist actually is, right? you really don't understand what qualifies you as being, knowing a black person. You really, it's not like you don't get a card. What do you? And he was right.
It's like if he started with it, says this is going to sound racist, which always means that it is. That's basically the same thing.
It was almost as bad. Yeah, his reaction was just trying to. He tried to explain him not being a racist the way racists usually do, and when all he had to say was, I didn't say anything racist in the tweet. I just posted a picture of her and said she was ugly. Had nothing racist about that. Sexist and demeaning, yes, but not racist. All he had to do. He fucked that up totally. Willie Ames, on the other hand, like you said, he rode the gravy train too through Charles in Charge and everything. But as you mentioned, he had a huge drug problem.
Huge. And now he's a total Jesus freak. Something I've noticed just growing up in this world, being alive in this world, almost all junkies become Jesus freaks if they don't OD. Well, once they get clean and they find themselves, they almost always find Jesus too. Which is fine. If that's what's going to keep you clean, go for it. But they tend to be also the most pushy towards their non-Jesus-y friends.
Well, they're very excited because they found something that saved them. I'm actually not 100% against the religious aspect of that, because
me neither.
If that
the pushy
saved
ones.
you, I know you're not. Now, the thing with him, it's like if you read his Wikipedia and you read his biography online.
There's no Kirk Cameron. Let's put it that way.
No, not at all. But it's like there are little things you can fill the holes in on. Like if you go to IMDb and look up his biography, it says that after like so many years in the entertainment industry, he retired and took on his new career as a cruise host. Like, wait, so yeah, okay. And then you read Wikipedia, and it doesn't mention anything about his drug problems, but you can find quotes of him saying how, like, what saved him was that he and his wife at the time had gone to a church, and they didn't blink at the fact that they were dressed up like Cooter from Zapped, leather and shit and purple hair, and bombed out of their minds, and they accepted them in. And so it's almost like he realized he had to get away from the industry, I'm thinking.
Oh, okay.
And that might have been what... but also too, it's like he washed. I also think that caused a lot of money problems too. Living beyond your means as a popular entity in Hollywood, because you don't really see much on it. But there is at one point he started a foundation or something that's to help people with financial hardships, because he had gone through them himself, which I would think was a reference to the idea of, okay, I lost all my money, I fucked it up in Hollywood, and now I have to go. Host a cruise liner for 6 years or however. And then he eventually started coming back to the industry. So he's been doing some stuff recently, but I mean, it's like an interesting kind of like hitting rock bottom and rebounding story with him. So I find that interesting compared to Scott Baio, who just seemed kind of like hovered in this little constant.
Right.
Oh, there was I remember the other thing that was that got Scott Baio in trouble with some people was the girl from what's her name from Three's Company, I think it was. Like
Suzanne Summers?
No, the other one.
Oh, I'd have to look that up.
Exactly. But she hit really hard times. Like her house was foreclosed on, and her husband ended up moving in with her mother, and she was like on this. She really like hit the skid, so to speak. And interviewers had asked Scott Baio about it. He's like, you know what? I have my own family, my own life. I really don't.
Joyce DeWitt.
Right. I think that she's the one. And he was like, I'm busy and I have a family. I don't really, I hope she's well, but I really don't have any time to worry about other people. And then they asked Fonzie.
Oh, it could be Priscilla Barnes. Either one. She was the original blonde before they replaced her with Suzanne Summers.
It was brunette. It was brunette.
Okay, so it was Joyce DeWitt then.
And then they asked Fonzie, and he was like, we're currently trying to get her a role on Arrested Development. We're trying to get her back on her feet. It's horrible this happened to her. And everybody's like, oh look, the Fonzie's cool and Chachi's a dick.
Yeah, who saw that coming? Yeah, as a matter of fact, Henry Winkler, from what I understand, he's one of the nicest people on the planet.
And if he didn't do commercials for reverse mortgages, I'd still like that.
Yeah,
it's just like
that's a little. It's like, did you research this at all?
The only
you don't need the money, do you? Because I didn't think you did. That's
the only thing I can. The only reason I would give a pass on that is if he honestly didn't understand that he was like selling.
Unless this is like the nicest, greatest reverse mortgage company ever. It's like, do you think he might have done that kind of homework? It's like, yeah, reverse mortgages, they're usually a bunch of motherfucking scumbags, but these guys are really nice. They really look out for you. When they own your end up possessing your house, it's like, we'll give you an extra year. It's like, wow, these guys are great. I gotta sell for these guys.
I really want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I really do.
I would too.
Now,
it's also like, what's his face? He's a Republican. He's an actor. He was in Die Hard 2.
The guy who ran for president, yeah.
Yeah, he does reverse mortgage commercials. Like, okay, he specifically picked the most evil reverse mortgage company out there. I can feel it.
I can't even get. I'm not going to mention his name because that's definitely a strangers in a strange land discussion.
Yeah,
that guy. Now let me bring us back around since we have been talking about Scott Baio and Willie Ames. Let's bring us back to Zapped and
for a short time I thought that guy was Vigo from Ghostbusters 2 when I was young. But go ahead, bring us back. I think
Vigo would have had a better chance running for president.
Vigo.
Any like particularly. Are there any scenes that like you remember as a kid like loving and then watching now it was like
the amusement park stuff. I remember liking that a lot more as a kid. And I watched it today and it's cringe inducing.
I remember finding the floating ventriloquist dummy hilarious and awesome and watching it now it's just like, oh, couldn't you have like made it funny?
Yeah. I also remembered it being creepier, and I watch it today, and it's not creepy at all. It's just bad. What else?
I agree.
What else did I remember liking more as a kid?
I don't even know if this is a scene I liked a lot now. Like watching it as an adult, unfortunately. I'm not sure. I can't. I think Scatman Crothers is my favorite because it's Scatman Crothers. He could be in anything. Right. And he's like just a shining light. I mean, just him. Even though the dialogue they gave him is crap, just him talking to that door's got a special key, and only Barney's got it.
Oh, you know what else I noticed? The Shining. Yeah, you know what else I noticed about Bernadette's character in the beginning of the film? She's got the huge, thick glasses, the braces. You know, her hair really isn't that done well. She's not dressed really that good. And then probably about, like, even right now, it's the scene now. No braces, hair done, nice outfit. She's not wearing a bra in this scene. So it's just like, wow, what a 180.
What is? Well, he breaks her glasses out of spite with his telekinetic powers early on. So that's the first time we see her without them.
Right.
But I know, it's that typical cliche.
And she manages to get her braces off. It's like, this is the time of her braces coming off too. No,
maybe it was a retainer. But
even so.
It's that horrible cliche of the attractive girl, but she wears baggy clothing and has glasses on, so everyone thinks she's not attractive and all this, and then all of a sudden she comes out and it's like, wow, she's really hot.
It was
that typical cliche.
That fucking movie with Tony Danza with his daughter. She's Gotta Have It. Is that what it is? Was that the name of that film? Where his daughter was like braces and glasses and frumpy and
Joey, I just described like every other female lead in like 80s teen romantic comedies. That's what I'm saying. It's a very cliche stock character. So yes, it probably wasn't Tony Danza's film, but it's in all of these films. They even made fun of it in 10 Things I Hate About You.
No, not so much.
What? Not so much what?
It wasn't brought up so much in 10 Things I Hate About You.
No, they made a special point about it. That was like part of the plot of that. They actually talk about it in the film. He's trying to get it. Why don't you date the hunchback? Oh, you need to find somebody that's totally repulsive. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, with Heath Ledger. Right. So I'm saying they made a point of making fun of that cliche. So what I was getting at is they pulled the same thing on here in this film, and then halfway through, when Scott Baio starts dating her, all of a sudden the next scene, they're running out to a tennis court, and she's got the like a form-fitting, like painted on tight little tennis outfit. It's like, holy shit! It's like that wasn't even a 180. That was like a 360. I just broke my neck. What the fuck happened? Come on!
It was She's Out of Control. That's what it was. But that's another 80s film that I remember growing up with, and that's the only reason why I brought it up is because it was, I know you brought up other things, but that stuck out in my head the most. Of the frumpy girl that looks hot later.
Right. No, but I just, the way you said it was like I was referring to one film. I'm referring to an entire archetype.
I was referring to one film.
But you brought it up as if it was like, oh yeah, that's the movie. Well, okay.
No, I said, in my defense, I said it's like that Tony Danza movie.
And in my defense, I just said you said it as if you were saying.
Yes. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yes, you are.
Maybe a little. Not on purpose.
If Mary Warrenoff was in this film, I would have liked it a lot more.
I don't think so. I don't think, even if she was, her role wouldn't have been big enough to like it.
It would have gotten bigger. If Mary Warrenoff was in there, the role would have gotten bigger.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. If I know Mary Warrenoff.
Nah, I don't know. What was she doing in 1982? Was she hanging out with what's his face?
She did. She was still. You mean the bald guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was. That was her working partner. They always worked together. I wonder if the same time frame. She was playing the principal in Rock and Roll High School.
Yeah, maybe.
I forget. That was definitely 70s. 79 again. So that's the other type of that's the kind of films that they were coming off of with this. And again, stuff like that, they were able to do a lot more of the sexual humor, a lot more blatant, and then that was the kind of stuff they started cracking down on. So things like this, Porky's could get away with it because it was a bigger studio film, bigger budget. So they
she was also in Eating Raoul the same year. So maybe she just was tied up.
I bet she was.
Nah, you'd like to think that.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know if I have anything else to add about Zapped. It's one of those 80s comedies that just really... I
want to give us credit that we actually reviewed it for this long.
Well, we went off on a couple tangents.
Yeah, but they all kind of revolved around Zapped, so...
Yeah, we didn't
usually our tangents go completely... It's like, hey, you see that other movie? Oh, yeah, I saw that other movie. And it has nothing to do with the film we're reviewing. We do that a lot. We didn't do that this time.
I do want to say that another film that popped into my mind while I was watching this, and it's not your challenge this week, was Modern Problems with Chevy Chase.
Oh, Dabney Coleman. I love that one.
Another psychic.
I remember loving that one.
Oh no, I've watched that recently. I watched that like every couple of years. I still love that film.
Yeah? Okay, good.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a really long time.
The clunky editing from that time period is kind of obvious, but there's still great acting and great in the scenes I enjoy. Again, I remember loving that as a kid. Watching like the special effects, which are low budget, but it's still fun. I watch this now and I still enjoy those scenes. They're still funny. They're still fun. Okay. So it is possible to do that. You don't have to be like Zapped. You can actually make a film that does endure. But there are other films like this too. There was one that I'm torn. I have like two things I want to challenge you, and I'm not sure which one to do. I may have to throw them both at you and let you choose.
Okay.
Because
so do we want to rate this, then move to the challenge? How do you want to do it?
No, we don't want to rate this.
We can.
I'm kidding. Yeah, of course we do. Yeah.
It's actually 4.7, which is borderline average.
No.
I'd say 4. Maybe even a 3 on this one. 3 or 4, I think, works.
I want to do 4. I would be tempted to do 3. Even though the film doesn't have much of a real plot line, it's not. There's still competence in the writing. I mean, it goes from A to B to C to D, and there are elements of it that are interesting. So I really don't want to go low as a 3. I
don't think I could go as low as a 3, only for the reason that it is from my childhood, and just for that alone.
I'm being totally subjective, so I'm not going to use that. But
just on that alone, and me, I used to really enjoy the film, and I watched it today, and not so much. But it's still a part of my childhood. I think 4 is appropriate. I think for
me to give it a 5, I would have had to actually laugh at something now that I laughed at back then.
Well, if it had Mary Warrenoff, it'd be a 5.
It would be an 8.
No, there's no way.
Be a different film, dude. Trust me. So I'm ready for 4. You ready for 4?
I'm good for 4.
All right, 4 it is, and it's only got 4,000 votes.
Oh yeah, it's
biggest.
Nobody knows about this.
We're in the majority. The biggest rating is 4 with 17%. Highest demographic is. It's tied. Highest demographic is male and female under 18, 5.5. Lowest demographic is a lot of them, but like females age 18 to 29 and anybody over the age of 45 hated this film. They're like 4.3 average. So
yeah, because at that age when this came out, they were teenagers? Yeah, I could see them hating it.
Our demographic is firmly in the 4.9 to 5 range.
Okay.
So
it's a lot of disappointed, late 30, early 40-year-olds.
Oh yeah, so we're actually under the average. So I'm comfortable with that if you are.
Okay, I'm good. Yes. All right, so let's go ahead and end this show.
Okay.
So Bugsy Malone not next week, the week after. We'll be in the new year by then. So episode 176 of Moviesucktastic. As always, we thank you for joining us. We're getting up there.
That's a lot of episodes.
We might want to quit when we hit another milestone before it's too late. I'm joking. We'll be doing my kids will be in college. Dad, what are you doing? I don't know. I don't know.
I can't stop. Stop.
Dad, we want to hang out in the basement, play video. Yeah, I get that, but I'm busy. Dad, you're not done. No, we're hitting our 1,000th episode. We're gonna get people listening finally. I can feel it.
Here's the deal: if we stop recording the podcast, we're still going to end up doing this every week. We just won't record it.
That's right. So we may as well just fucking record it.
Yeah.
We won't have to deal with YouTube. We don't have to deal with that fucking hassle.
Maybe we will. Maybe we'll still.
Knowing us. Anyway, all right. Go to our website at moviesucktastic.com. Download our shows there. You can watch the show live there through live stream. You can also go to iTunes and you can listen to the show there. You can download all of you can download the shows there as well. You can leave us a review while you're at it. You can email us. The address is themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. You can leave us voicemail at 908-514-4470. You can go to our Tumblr page at moviesucktastic.tumblr.com. Go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/moviesucktastic. You can download our 100% free and pretty goddamn awesome Android app for your phone or your tablet or anything that runs Android. It's 100% free. Everything I just talked about is on the app. You can email us way easier right from your phone. You got a question for us instantly? Do it. Voicemail? Just hit a button and it's there. And of course, you can just do an internet search with your favorite web browser. Scott loves Google. And you can find us just by doing a search for Moviesucktastic. The name is so unique, you don't have to put Scott and Joey in the title, just like you need to do for Strangers in a Strange Land, our other very fun podcast. Anyway, so that's that. And that's it. You have any words of wisdom there, Scott?
Man, gotta have his salami.
And on that note, we'll talk to you next week.
Salami.